And every week that counts down, I'm looking forward to the fight. I ain't waiting for no deadline. The only deadline I need to know is when that final bell goes and I've done my job. That's the only deadline I'm looking forward to.
You feel like Fury's putting a deadline because...
I don't know what Fury's doing. I don't give a shit either. All I know is who I am and what I'm doing, and I'm coming. I'm looking forward to it. I've been to the top of the mountain. I come back down and I climb my way back up. I'm experienced, I'm wiser, I'm stronger, I'm fitter. I don't care what anyone else has got to say, what anyone else is doing. I focus on myself.
Big love to my newly subscribed Patreon General NY Explorer. Any other dons out there who want to support the YB, check me out. Patreon.com/TheYB. Moving on. We just heard there from Anthony, the booty buster, Joshua. Laying the hammer down a little piece, still putting the hammer down nicely on Tyson. Fury. Now, listen, let's not. In fact, no. Let's. I was about to say let's not go too deep on this one, but let's go deep on this one. You know what the YB. You know what the YB is like when he gets talking. Loves the sound of his own voice. I can't lie. He can't lie. The YB loves the sound of his own voice. Yeah, listen. AJ said he don't give a SHIT about Fury's deadline. Not even a bit of a SHIT does AJ give. But when we saw him in there with, what's his name, Goofy Jonathan Ross, I just want to see it translate. I don't know, man. For example, yeah, in all of the build-up for AJ and Dillian, there weren't no smiling. And again, a little while ago, I did say that I think money is something at play here. I think money does something. Back in 2015, when AJ fought, AJ and Dillian had some little beef. I think there was some North London or something. North London versus East London. One of them ones. A little bit of that was in there. Stormzy was in there. All that kind of business was going on. AJ wasn't. He was a millionaire, I think he was. Just about, mate. Maybe he was like 500 grand, 700 grand. So he had a little piece of change, but he wasn't certified. He weren't doing a $100 million Saudi thing yet. Now he's done all that. Now it's all behind him. And also he's had kids now. You know what I'm saying? He's matured. He's a 30-odd-year-old. So I get that. Maybe the YB's hella immature. I don't know. But all I know is, I got a feeling. The YB is the #1 boxing analyst in the game. 100%. No one even comes close, if the truth be known. Pound for pound. Shane McGuigan at training is the YB at commentating. No doubt. And with that in mind, the YB links it all together. The spiritual element. I can just feel it. Got this seventh sense for it. And I'm telling you now, AJ versus Dillian, there was this rawness to it. Not one point in the whole build was AJ smiling. All I saw was AJ's lippy out. His lipstick was all the way out. Couldn't wait to get in there with Dillian. AJ wanted Dillian badly. And we did say in my other video that when you do get money, it is hard to be angry. Angry about what? Innit? When you got 100 mil, your family's all... when you got 100 mil or 200 mil, whatever it is, loads of mils, your family's alright. What's there to be mad about? Yeah? At that point, when you've got 100 mil, it's not a binary thing where, oh, he's taking food off my plate. He's taking food out of my kid's mouth. Back in 2015, yeah, it was one of them ones. People got a short memory. AJ versus Dillian, that was the fight. Seriously, that was AJ's first real decent test. And at that point, it was make or break. It was whoever wins this fight is going to be the guy. That's what it was. And as we found out, that was the case. If Dillian had been good enough to beat AJ on that night, he would most likely now be the unified champion, innit? Because AJ's about to go undisputed. So this really was a case of 2015. It was a case of it's me or you. Who is going to be the undisputed unified champion? As it turns out, it's AJ. At that point, it was, again, who's going to be the 100 millionaire? Who's going to be the potential billionaire from boxing? All of them things, all of them probabilities and outcomes originated in December 2015. That was AJ and Dillian's first make or break fight. First one. The first step in the chain which has led us to this day. So thinking about it now, it's easy to see how circumstances build that kind of gulliness in AJ. Your whole life depends on it. You haven't made it yet. You're not set. Your future isn't certain. AJ now, his future's certain. He's won all the belts there is to win, more or less. He's made all the money there is to make. For now, it's just convenience. Yeah, I'll have another belt. Yeah, I'll beat Fury. You know what I'm saying? There isn't that make or breakness. He's already had a loss against Ruiz. There's no... Same as McTapper as well. What have you really got to lose at this point? It's certainly not like 2015 where you had your whole career to lose, is it? Yeah? Nothing's on the line, really. It's more of a pleasantry. It's more of a... Okay, this is the next logical step. However, what a great team would do at this point, a great team, someone like the YB, spiritually tuned in, would notice these things. Because we can artificially, you know what I'm saying? A good team, someone who's on point, would notice these differentials. And would realise that just because our circumstances have changed, don't mean our mentality has to. Or right, better yet, doesn't mean our mentality in the ring has to. You can be fruity on the outside, or whatever. But when it comes to business, it's business. It's almost like hypnotising someone. When it comes to you versus Fury, or in fact, when it comes to any of... The minute we're in fight mode, we're in fight mode. As in, the whole lot, the whole build-up, we're in fight mode. We want to do this man serious harm. And genuinely mean it. Mike Tyson would say that Cuss would get him into this zone where if Cuss told him to bite, he'd just bite. That's that kind of stuff we're talking about. Just deep. I'm not sure what it is, but that deep thing. That deep entanglement thing. That's what you need. You need this just ruthlessness. There's a film with Jet Li in. And Jet Li, I think he's like a man and he's living in a box or something. Like he's treated like a dog. And this gangster trains him. All he's made to do is fight. He don't know how to speak or nothing like that. It's a really quite interesting film, but that's what I have in my mind. That's what it should be. For 40 weeks out of the year, or better yet, for 28 weeks out of the year, you are a family man. You are a billionaire. Whatever you want to do. But for them, 2 fight camps. The switch flicks. Because I'm not sure it's possible. People say things like, we've heard it. Even currently, we hear, oh, well, yeah, don't worry, I'll switch it on for the fight. Oh, no, don't worry, I'll switch it on when I'm in the ring. Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I've heard that before. I'm not buying it. I don't buy it from anyone either, by the way. I just don't, from what I've observed, I don't buy it. Not in 2021 anyway, with all the social media. Back in the early 90s or whatever, I think it was possible. People like Lewis, he was quite spiteful, regardless of the money. But today... You've got so much people just gassing you up. So many people want to be in the video. So much adulation. I think it makes people soft. Even if you don't want it to. Even if you're not intending it to. Just way too much exposure. Way too many people putting you on a pedestal. You haven't got that struggle that you did have before. Everywhere you go, I think someone said it that when I was poor, I was begging for people to give me stuff for free. Now I've got all the money. I can't stop people giving me stuff. And as civilians, we can't appreciate what that's like. But looking around the place, doing basic analysis, I can tell you, it ain't good for a fighter's mind. We're not playing polo here. We're not playing horse riding. We're talking about literal 2021 gladiator sport. And I don't believe you can be the best gladiator possible, get the best out of yourself, and not have optimized your mentality. If you think, you can go from 2015 to 2021 and have all of your life and circumstances change, if you think that your mentality hasn't changed, If you think that you don't need to do anything to combat them, do you know what I'm saying? If you think that, oh, I'm still the same, I'm still psychologically the same man as I was 6 years ago, I think you're lying to yourself. I think everyone, when you've got, people don't realise that's like that's like winning the lottery, or even more so because you've earned it or whatever. People don't, like, going from 0 to 100 million and everything else that comes with it, the profile, the females, whatever else you want to put in there, everything we track in life has changed exponentially. If you think that doesn't have some effect on your mind, you're lying to yourself, or you don't understand the human mind. And better yet, look at the evidence around. How many champions out there of AJ's caliber? McGregor, really. Who else is there? Floyd, yeah, fair play to Floyd, but Floyd is a good example. He did. But then again, he wasn't spiteful in the ring. Yeah, I've got no qualms. I fully believe AJ can win every fight by decision. But what's important here is AJ isn't, or in my mind at least, AJ has the ability to be a different type of champion, to a better champion than Mayweather. Mayweather didn't deliver for his fans, or didn't deliver for the fans. Mayweather almost became a bit of a cult figure. People watched him to watch him lose. Do you understand? People weren't watching Mayweather to watch his amazing performance. Mayweather didn't do pay-per-views because people couldn't wait to watch. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the beauty of the sport that people tuned into Mayweather. He managed to, at a time in 2007 when everyone was broke, he came out flashy and it got people mad. Don't get me wrong, it worked. It's not the same thing we've got with AJ right now. AJ has the ability to be a ferocious, devastating champion. And I think that takes something else. So yes, you can tell me, oh well, YB, Mayweather was all in the video. Mayweather was on Instagram. Mayweather's made loads of money. Yes, but he weren't ferocious, was he? Not even a bit was he ferocious. So even him, even the most disciplined man. And actually, again, look, here's the perfect example. How did Floyd fight when he was broke? Ferocious. Lighting dudes up. When there was food potentially coming out of his kid's mouth, he was ferocious. The minute he made it, moist. McGregor, same thing, ferocious. The minute he made it, moist. Habib, to his credit, but look at Habib again. Look how Habib has managed. He still lives with his parents. So when we actually look at it, AJ buying $1 million houses, I'm not knocking it, I'm just calling a spade here. Habib, he does have that snare, I'll give him that. But look at his environment. Habib is, culturally, or whatever else you call it, has been extremely disciplined. He hasn't, in fact, he's turned down all the glitz and glam. He still lives with his parents. Still trains out of some dirty gym as such. Local gym. Still lives in some back way, you know what I mean? So he actively turns down the spotlight. So he's been able to keep that viciousness by other factors. By being real, by having that culture in his religion and whatnot, has really kept him in a bubble. And even then, he had much more influences, like his dad was involved in his actual sport. Do you know what I'm saying? When your dad's involved in your actual sport, it's like, similar to Mayweather. That's another level as well. You're basically controlling the changing factors, or controlling the influencing factors. You haven't got a whole bunch of new goofy dudes coming in and gassing the place up. Kept his team very small. Habib has. And even then, Habib's style isn't the most ferocious. Yes, it's a wrestling thing. It's a lot slower process. Boxing, we're talking about one shot, one arm in your face is the difference between consciousness and not consciousness. Wrestling's a lot more, it's a different ball game. Boxing is the ultimate thing here. And that's why people say, YB, why do you rate Jake Paul so much? Now you know why. He's got all the money and whatnot, and still he turns up and he looks to crack from the jump, cracking. In there, straight cracking. The guy the goofy YouTuber who should be moist as you like, is in there cracking. That's why I rate him. But back to the AJ thing. Someone somewhere, I believe, to get the most out of yourself, when that fight, when you set your eyes on something, when AJ set his eyes on Fury, the attitude is just a word, but the whole philosophy needs to be Gully. Just the minute you think of him, the minute you see him, your face should just. I mean, look at Dillian versus AJ again. I'm not saying things that aren't there. When everything was to lose, when everything was on the table, look at AJ versus Dillian. Look at the whole build-up. Not a bit of smiling. Show me once AJ smiling near Dillian. And what do we know? His performance. Were AJ's skills perfect then? No. But that's the point. Over time, your skills do change. But the mentality should maintain the same. All whilst your life goes from 0 to hero, that's optimum. It's been proven time and time again. I mean, one of the biggest cliches or one of the biggest principles in boxing has been, it's hard to run in the morning in silk sheets. That's like the number one thing people say when it comes to boxing. And that isn't because it's goofy. That's because it's a principle, that's almost one of the 10 commandments of boxing. So at this point, everyone knows it's hard to run in silk sheets, but for some reason, fighters just accept it. Oh yeah, well, it's hard to run in silk sheets. No. I say we need to bring in counterweights to not let that be the case. And in my mind, it's not enough. People say things like, "Oh well, I know that." Knowing it isn't enough. Saying, "Oh yeah, I know that," and that's not me. That's what people say. "Oh well, yeah, I know but that's not me. I'm working hard. I'm humble." No, you don't. That's not enough. You need a holistic approach. The whole team needs to be under the same wing here. Just a Gully team. For them 12 weeks now, or for them 8 weeks. The rest of the year, you can be as fruity as you want, but the minute we snap into camp mode, the whole lot needs to be just ruthless. The principle, everything needs to be just ruthless, efficient. We heard Conor Ben speaking the other day. He didn't want to waste no shots. That there is one of the, you know what I'm saying? That there is one tiny minuscule part of what I'm talking about. That would be one part of the camp. One part of the camp would be, we're going to go in there and we're going to let leather fly. But we ain't going to waste none of it. Every bit in this camp, in every training session we're doing, in every sparring session, in every bag session, every shot is going to be thrown with devastating intentions. And with terrifying accuracy. We ain't wasting nothing. Everything we do is going to be, you know what I'm saying? And that's just one part. That's just one tiny, that's just the accuracy of the shots. You apply that mentality, yeah, to every single part of the camp. And that's, in my opinion, how you build or how you maintain for that fight, for that camp. That's how you maintain a mentality. Because trust me, when you've been in training, yeah, and you've been, just to use that example again, when you've been training for 8 weeks, and every shot you've thrown has been that way inclined. When you get in the ring, when it's time to get in the ring with next man, with Fury, you're going to be licking your chops. You're going to be you won't be able to wait to get in there and dig him with said shots, with said accuracy, with said ferociousness, with said precision. You're going to be in there slipping, making him pay. He's just going to. I see a vision where you're so disciplined, you're so trained, you're so schooled. And I think that I said it earlier, but the best way to explain what I'm talking about is what that Jet Li film. The Jet Li film where the man is just a fighting machine. He just in there and he's seeing things, you know what I mean? One of them ones, just a pure, he doesn't know how to talk. He's like a dog, but he's a fighting machine. And the minute his master clicks his fingers, he just turns on fight mode. That's what I'm thinking. You build a 12-week camp around that kind of principle. And the minute that bell goes, you know what I'm saying? It turns on. Anyway, ultimately we heard AJ say that he ain't interested in he ain't interested in deadline. And that, at face value, and this for me probably sums up what I'm saying, because you man probably hearing it thinking, oh, YB's just a mad ranter. YB loves the sound of his own voice, which you ain't lying, I do, but this should sum up. This should give you an idea of what I'm trying to explain here is, when AJ says, I don't give a ish about Fury's deadline, that in itself would be another example of the Conor Benn comments. We don't give a F about his deadline. Is similar to is a similar mentality to, I want to go in there. I don't want to waste no shots. I want every shot. The shots I do throw, I'm not going to throw many shots, but the shots I do throw are going to land. And they're going to be devastating. And you're not going to see them coming. You know what I'm saying? They're on the same level. I don't give a F about his deadline. I'm coming through. The train's leaving when the train's leaving. The train leaving sharp at 10 p.m. on whatever date. And Fury ain't going to be on the train. Fury going to be on the tracks and be running through him. But what I'm trying to explain here is, whilst that's what AJ said, I don't give a SHIT about Fury's deadline. That is a gully principle. That would be one of the things we also build into the camp. But where it goes awry, where it doesn't line up, is when you see AJ on the Jonathan Ross program, and Fury's there saying he's a stiff dosser, and AJ's laughing. Yeah, that's where it doesn't line up. It's not real. Or sorry, it's not disciplined. Does that make sense? Because a man who with a YB and we're building this 12-week Jet Li camp thing. The minute we smell Fury, the minute we see him, you know what I mean? That bell goes off in your head. That bell goes off and you start salivating. There ain't no time for smiling. That same way you say after deadline. If that's truly how you feel, yeah. If you truly feel like F Fury's deadline, I ain't waiting for that guy. If that's truly how you felt, if your camp was being built on that narrative, if your camp was being built on that philosophy of we don't give a F about this dude, then when you saw him on the Jonathan Ross show, you know what I'm saying? That's what you'd see. You wouldn't have smiling, laughing. That wouldn't be in there. Now, again, I can justify it for AJ because smiling and laughing is what it is because we're rich and we're famous. So I'm not knocking it. It is what it is. But I'm saying to get the most out of AJ, that's what I believe it is. That's what I believe you'd do. It doesn't mean nothing. He's still going to win the fight. But there's a difference between AJ winning in 12 rounds, 11 rounds, or 4 rounds. That's what I'm getting at here. I'm talking about Optimus Prime thing. I'm talking about 99 out of 100 FIFA score. And at this level, little things like this, the spirit of the thing and whatnot, it's the difference between 99 FIFA and 94 FIFA. Currently, it's a 94 FIFA. It's just a bit of what he's saying. The mentality isn't backing it up. So the same as Dillian back in 2015, a perfect example. In 2015, AJ would have said similar things to, I don't give a F about his deadline. But also, when it came to the sit down, when Dillian said, AJ, you're stiff or whatever, AJ, you're a bodybuilder, you ain't see AJ laughing. Do you understand? See the difference there? Now, I've just explained to you, man, why AJ can laugh now. Because it is all a bit of a joke. It's all now at this point in time, it's the sporting event. AJ's taking part in a sport. It's almost like, yes, at this point, AJ's taking part in a sport. It's not life or death now, is it? It's not going to affect his future in any way, really. So that's why he's able to look at Fury and because he hasn't been programmed by the YB, because he ain't got someone thinking on 190 IQ, thinking on 10-dimensional. The team are just sloppy. And this is the thing, they don't even know it. They don't even know what's missing because how are they meant to know? I can't even blame them, but it is what it is. The spirit ain't no joke. There's a reason the great trainers like Cuss, Cuss would spend hours with Mike. People, that's what I'm saying about the IG trainers. I said, I'm not sure if it was this video or another video, but in this day and age, there's so many Instagram trainers who come along, they're fruity tooty. Ben Davidson never did nothing, don't really know nothing, and that is what it is. They're fruity tooty. Cuss D'Amato, would sit there with Mike and spend hours talking about, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying, and building that spirit, building that mentality, building that the philosophy of the camp. And it's not just through words, but it's the whole lot of it. People think today that, oh well, I'm a boxing trainer. Yep, I post a few Instagram videos and I go to the gym from 7 till 5, or I go to the gym from 5 till 7. I do my S&C from 12 till 1, and then that's that. Nah, there's levels to this game. That's what the IG trainers do. That's the 2020 approach, the old school approach. And I'm not being nostalgic. I'm just telling you, if you want to get from 94 FIFA to 99 FIFA score, this is what needs to be done. That's the hole I see right now. One of the holes, at least. Because AJ in there with them, if someone can get into the camp and get AJ into that 2015 mode, it's bad for the division. It's going to be real bad for the division right now. It'll be a nightmare for the division. It will be nightmare on Joshua Street, no doubt.